All rise and face the east. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through His Holy Prophet, Noble Jolly. Amen. Psalm. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle of Seven and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Psalm. Close my door. Psalm. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is put in danger or accused falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and a partial of the government, and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a partial of this said government. Know that they are not Negroes, color folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jolly, the Prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jolly, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Noble Jolly, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office, Noble Jolly. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7. Divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jolly, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from a sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Know thyself in Allah, the genealogy of Jesus. Life and works of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa, in the land of Egypt. The Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, Chapter 11. Jesus and Bharata, together they read the sacred books. Among the Buddhist priests was one who saw a lofty wisdom in the words that Jesus spoke. It was Bharata Arabo. Together Jesus and Bharata read the Jewish Psalms, and Prophet read the Vedas, the Avesta, and the wisdom of Gautama. And as they read and talked about the possibilities of man, Bharata said, "Man is a marvel of the universe. He is part of everything, for he has been a living thing on every plane of life. Time was when man was not, and then he was a bit of formless substance in the molds of time, and then a protoplast. By universal law, all things tend upward to a state of perfectness. The protoplast evolved, becoming worm, then reptile, bird, and beast, and then at last it reached the form of man. Now man himself is mind, and mind is here to gain perfection by experience. and mind is often manifest in fleshy form, and in the form best suited to its growth. So mind may manifest as worm, or bird, or beast, or man. The time will come when everything of life will be evolved into the state of perfect man. And after man is man in perfectness, he will evolve to higher forms of life. And Jesus said, Barata Rabo, who told you this? That mind which is man may manifest in flesh of beast, or bird, or creeping thing. Barata said, from time which man remembers not, our priests have told us so, and so we know. And Jesus said, enlighten Arabo, are you a mastermind, and do not know that man knows not by being told? Man may believe what others say, but thus he never knows. If man would know, he must himself be what he knows. Do you remember, Arabo, when you were ape, or bird, or worm? Now if you have not better proving of your plea than that the priests have told you so, you do not know, you simply guess. Regard not then what any man has said. Let us forget the flesh, and go with the mind into the land of fleshless things. Mind never does forget. And backward through the ages, master minds can trace themselves, and thus they know. Time never was when man was not. That which begins will have an end. If man was not, the time will come when he will not exist. From Allah's own record book we read, the triune Allah breathed forth and stood 7 spirits before his face. The Hebrews call these 7 spirits Elohim, and these are they who in their boundless power created everything that is or was. These spirits of the triune Allah moved on the face of boundless space, and 7 others were, and every other had its form of life. These forms of life were but the thought of Allah clothed in the substance of their ether planes. Men call these ether planes the planes of protoplast, of earth, of plant, of beast, of man, of angel, and cherubim. These planes, with all their teeming thoughts of Allah, are never seen by eyes of man in flesh. They are composed of substance far too fine for fleshy eyes to see, and still they constitute the soul of things. And with the eyes of soul, all creatures see these ether planes in all forms of life. Because all forms of life on every plane are thoughts of Allah. All creatures think, and every creature is possessed of will, and in its measure has the power to choose. And in their native planes, all creatures are supplied with nourishment from the ethers of their planes. And so it was with every living thing until the will became a sluggish will. And then the ethers of the protoplast, the earth, the plant, the beast, the man, began to vibrate very slow. The ethers became more dense, and all the creatures of these planes were clothed with coarser garbs of flesh, which men can see, and thus the coarser manifest which men call physical appeared. And this is what is called the fall of man. But man fell not alone, for protoplast and earth and plant and beast were all included in the fall. The angels and the cherubim fell not, their will were never strong. And so they held the ethers of their planes in harmony with Allah. Now when the ether reached the rate of atmosphere, and all creatures of these planes must get their food from atmosphere, the conflict came, and then that which the finite man called survival of the best became a law. The stronger ate the bodies of the weaker manifest, and here is where the kernel of evolution had its rise. And now man in his utter shamelessness strikes down and eats the beast. The beast consumes the plant, and the plant thrives on the earth absorbs the protoplasm. And yonder kingdom of the soul, this carnal evolution is not known. And the great work of masterminds is to restore the heritage of man, to bring him back to his estate that he had lost when he again will upon the ethers of his native plane. The thoughts of Allah change not. The manifest of life on every plane unfolds into perfection of their kind. And as the thought of Allah can never die, there is not death to any being on the 7 Islam of the 7 ethers of the 7 planes. There is not death to any being of the 7 ethers of the 7 spirits of the triune Allah. And so an earth is never plant, a beast or bird or creeping thing is never man, and man is not and cannot be a beast or bird or creeping thing. The time will come when all these manifests will be absorbed, and man and beast and plant and earth and protoplast will be redeemed. Bharata was amazed. The wisdom of the Jewish sage was revelation unto him. Now Vidyapati, wisest of the Indian sages, chief of the temple Kapivastu, heard Bharata speak to Jesus of the origin of man, and heard the answer of the Hebrew prophet. And he said, "You priest of Kapivastu, hear me speak. We stand today upon a crest of time. 6 time ago a master soul was born, who gave a glorious light to man. And now a master sage stands in the temple of Kapivastu. The Hebrew prophet is the rising star of wisdom deified. He brings to us a knowledge of the secret things of Allah, and all the world will hear his words and glorify his name. You priest of temple Kapivastu, stay, be still and listen when he speaks. He is the living oracle of Allah." And all the priests gave thanks and praised the Buddha of enlightenment. Islam. Rise and give him praises to Allah, the great God of the universe. Honors to the holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, prophet and founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to all Muslims all over the world. Honors to all those who are tuned in. Honors, and to whom honors are due. Islam. So looking at this chapter, this is about basically, well, if you look at this chapter, you can see that there is two different, there's two sides to this chapter, in a sense. Like, there's the first part of the chapter where if you're reading it and, you know what I'm saying, you don't know anything, right? And you're listening to this person brought to speak, and you hear him and he's like, you know, it sounds really good, right? It sounds like the way he's saying it, it almost sounds like it's right. Because he the way that he laid it all out and said it, it sounded like it could possibly be logical. And so if you don't know anything, right, and you're just listening to this person speaking and just taking it upon yourself, right, without thinking of it, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and let that be a part of my study of self, right? But Jesus was like,
what's 9 plus
10? You cannot disrupt. So if you are studying, right, and you're studying self, you're talking to somebody, they say something, or just anything, it could be the study of self, right? Because study of self is all by yourself. It doesn't include anybody else. So you're thinking within your own heart and mind, right? You're just critically thinking within yourself, and you hear something that comes up, and it sounds logical, right? It sounds right. But if you're not thinking, right, if you don't stick to what you know and what you're told, right, from Moorish Science, from the Moorish Science Temple of America, if you don't stick to what you know, what you learn from the Circle 7, right, you let anybody tell you anything, you know, any spirit come along and say anything, and basically, you know, take you off the true path of the study of self. But here Jesus stands up and he tells them back, like, you know, this is not right, you know what I'm saying? This is, you know, basically the secrets of Allah that I'm going to give you, right? I'm talking about the 7 ether planes and how the, you know, everything creation came to be, right? These are secrets of Allah. People, it's just secrets that people ask all the time. You might ask within yourself. And so you see those two sides. There's one side that is, you know what I'm saying? He even goes on to admit, you know, I do not know. Like, somebody else told me this, you know, the priests, you know what I'm saying? The priests who dress up and stuff like that, they're the ones who told me. So I just said, okay. And it's like, but you know that man knows not by being told, right? Nobody can tell you anything and boom, you know what I'm saying? You know everything. It's like, no, you have to study everything for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Learn what the higher self is, while learn what the lower self is, and even learn the stuff that seems to be like of the higher self, but is actually of the lower self, right? Because strength comes by exercising, right? Exercising thought. So if you want to gain strength, and you know we all need to gain strength, then we all need to exercise thought at every, everything that comes along in this on the path of life, you have to exercise thought with every movement. You know what I'm saying? Every moment. Sorry. You hear that muh in there, every moment, every movement, right? So that muh is very divine, right? It's like the mother, the great mother, right? And as we're all mothers, we need to exercise strength, right? Because we're going to be bearing children. You know, if you're a mother, you've bared a child. When you bear a child, you've either bared a little boy or you've bared a little girl, or maybe you've bared both. You have little girls, you know what I'm saying? The prophet said, you raise up a woman, you raise up the nation, right? You raise up a man, you raise up just one individual, right? So, as mothers, if we have daughters, we have to know that we have to be strong, right? We have to have strength to raise them. You know what I'm saying? You might have a young daughter, 1 year old, 2 years old. You got like 18 years left at least, you know, to really get them strong, right? Get them to be independent. You have a son, he's gonna grow up to be a man. It's the same exact thing, right? But for me, I think that woman is more important, because when you look at it, mother is the first teacher. These women, if you teach, you know, these women, right, or daughters, right, then they're gonna grow up to teach their daughters, right? So we have to keep on, you know, teaching strength and thought, right? Because spirits are thoughts, and or spirit is a thought, right? Spirit is thought. So when we have our spirits, we need to teach them which spirits are right. You know what I'm saying? How can we teach them if we don't teach ourselves first? If we don't study self first, right? You have a little boy, he's gonna grow up, and you know what I'm saying? He's gonna probably go find a woman and go bear children, right? You want him to find a woman that's gonna be a good mother, right? Because that is going to lead your family. That's going to lead our race as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And I always like to talk about the mothering aspect of life, or motherhood, because I myself am a mother, right? And I think it's a huge responsibility, and I think it's a huge reason to study self, right? If you want to better yourself, why are you going to want to better yourself? You want to better yourself for your family, right? You want to better yourself to be, you know, better to the community. You know, what good is life if you don't use it for what it's good for? You know what I'm saying? People get so depressed and in states of dejection and, you know, misery and all these states, right? And they have all, but the root of it is vanity, right? Vanity. If we don't simmer down that vanity, in the sense of, if we don't know how to be humble, if we don't know how to, you know, be quiet, then we can't be told anything. You can't be told anything when you have vanity, right? Somebody could come to you and say something that makes sense, right? Because there's teachers all throughout life. I like to say that. I like to think that everybody has a message for me when I'm studying self. I mean, you know, be discerning, because some people, even though they will not have a message for you, they might have a lesson, something else, but they might not have no message for you. So just listen to anything, right? So be discerning, right? Somebody could say something, they say mean stuff, like, you know, that's not helping nobody, right? So, you know, but the people who come on in your life and have something, or a lesson to teach you, whatever, you know, seek to learn it. Don't be vain. Don't say, well, oh, I was right. You know, if you can argue with somebody, or, you know, even if you inside yourself, you mess up, you make a mistake, you do something wrong, you know, you doing stuff that's bad for you, whatever. Just don't, like, you know, beat yourself up or something like that. But just, like, be, like, thinking about it. Because the prophet said, if I could get you to think, you'll save yourself. You know what I'm saying? Was I wrong? Could I have been wrong? And that's real humble right there. That is ultra humble. That's all what humility is about. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't mean, like, oh, you go and bow down at somebody else's feet, because I'm saying, you read the Quran of Mecca, you know not to do that. You know not to do that stuff. You read the book, you know not to do that stuff, right? Because we're all equal, you know. When it comes to our brethren, man, you know what I'm saying, we're all equal. Even when it comes to angels, you know what I'm saying, they talk about the cherubim and the seraphim who fell not, right? They held their will very strong. You know what I'm saying? We can't even bow down to them, you know, saying their energy and stuff like that feels very, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe like majestic, like, you know what I'm saying? When you find somebody who has like that energy that's very like, wow, just so bright. I'm saying you still don't bow down to them. The only person that you bow down to, is when you make salat or something like that. You make salat to Allah, right? And when you make salat, what is that? That's a time where you can really, go within, find Allah in the heart and mind. I'm saying don't pray to Allah for, no money or nothing like that. That's not culture. Don't pray to Allah for no food. Allah knows your needs, so He'll provide for you. You pray to Allah for spiritual health. To you want to be humble. You pray to Allah. Say, I need to be humble. I need to, learn what vanity is, so I could get rid of it. I need to learn what. I need to learn more science, better, whatever it is that you need. Not from a carnal or physical aspect, but more from a like a lighter aspect, right? Because they talk about the physical and how it's dense and how it's coarse, right? But lighter, and so it says in here too, there's no death to any being, right? Of the seven spirits, right? There's no death. So that means that, we always like to say people pass their form. We say that in Moorish science because instead of saying die, there's no death, right? They just pass their form. Like there's no graduation. We always say that in Moorish science. That means that time is everlasting, right? And yes. So when somebody passes their form, and it's not to say that they are just totally not in existence. They're not on the physical plane. And sometimes we look at that and we say, oh, we miss them so much and it's hard for us, etc. But at the same time, like, what about them? Did you ever think about it from their perspective, how hard it was to leave, you behind, or hard it was, And even though people might call it hard, with the quotes and everything like that, it's something that, we're all gonna have to go through. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to say it's this or that or the other. It's just that period, that transformation that happens at that period, that time, in the sense of that moment. And the thing is sometimes, because I'm like that too, in the sense of I'd be all on myself, be feeling like I don't have nobody to, be there for me. And that's the study of self. You have to learn how to be by yourself. If you don't know how to be by yourself, something's going to happen that's going to get you secluded and by yourself, right? Within the study of self, right? You're going to be given time to, battle that. Because that's one thing that everybody knows, is that we all have our own souls, right? We're not joined to anybody's soul like that. We all have our own souls. So what we do with our soul is up to us, right? You should use your soul for the good that it has, right? And then I hear so many times, Sheikh's, Grand Sheikh, the Grand Governor, he would say, do they even have a soul? He's referring to European. And that he's saying, like, do people even, go within, do people even go within and think, or they just take what's given to them, whatever is put in front of them? Do they even go within and think about, is this something they should be doing, or they just go, with whatever is given to them? So every creature, it says right here in 27, all creatures think, and every creature possesses the will, and in its measure has the power to choose. So it's part of your power is to choose what you want, right? If good is thy power, then you have the power to choose good, right? Choose goodness. You have the power to choose whatever you want to do, Maybe you do got 15 more years. Maybe you do got 18 more years. Maybe you got 60 more years. Who knows? It's just, time is everlasting. It's not like that. Like, what you gonna do? What you gonna study? What you gonna put your mind to? What you gonna do to raise up your children? You have children. they need a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? They have to be taught how to, do everything that you're teaching yourself when you come and you sit in a meeting of Moorish science. Right? I was gonna read another chapter. Let me see where it's at. Oh, it's right here. Excuse me for that. Okay, let me stop this video and restart it because I'm not sure if it's gonna stop in the middle of the chapter. It might not. Okay, let's just keep going. The Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter